They ask, why do you have that pin and not an American flag pin, right? Why do you have that? It actually is a, it's a Navy Achievement Medal, and I won it in the Marine Corps. Now, when did I win that? I won that when I was running an armory. You might say, wait a minute, an armory? Yes. Larry, you told me you were in artillery. You told me you were in intelligence. I was in both. But at one point, I was in an armory. And there was going to be an inspector general. There's going to be an inspector general inspection. And people were like, should we do it? Is it going to happen? Who knows? People were talking about it and weren't sure. Will it happen? Will it not happen? What will happen? And I said, okay, it doesn't matter if it happens or not. I'm going to prep my armory, assuming the worst. I'm going to assume they're going to come in, inspect us like there's no tomorrow, hammer us like there's no tomorrow. I'm going to prep. And I prepped my armory, even when people were going, well, maybe, maybe not, who knows? In the long run, there was indeed an inspector general's inspection, and they tore everybody to pieces. I was the only one who got an outstanding in my entire unit. My armory got an outstanding when no one else in the entire unit got an outstanding. That's when I won the medal, because I was the only one who got an outstanding in the entire unit. Only my armory got an outstanding. You might say, wow, why would I bring up that story? Because it's what I've been doing here in New York State. I keep prepping. I keep trying to make things work, because yesterday, our ninth try, I don't know what the number is, it's something like that, in the courts to allow a realistic way for a third party to get on the ballot in New York State. The Supreme Court said, nope, sorry, don't want to hear it, don't care, have a nice day. To be forward, I warned everyone of this. I told everyone, the courts don't care. The judges don't care. They're part of this horrible system. They're okay with it. They don't have any problem. I was in the court when the judge literally said right to our face, no, these laws are fine. They're meant to keep people off the ballot who can't win. And he was fine with it. He wasn't mad. I'm the one who told them in both oral and written argument, this is unconstitutional. There are 500,000 New Yorkers who want to vote independent party. Every 2 years, they do this. About 500,000 every 2 years. Vote. And the people they're voting for, they know probably aren't going to win, but they still vote. It's a protest vote. It is your First Amendment right. Parties are not part of the Constitution. You should be able to vote for whom you want to vote for, whoever that is. They didn't care. Supreme Court doesn't care anyway. I knew they wouldn't. Of course not. Why would they? I learned my lesson. Getting your butt kicked, boy, can that be a good lesson. In fact, if you get your butt kicked and don't learn anything, you just took a butt whipping. That's terrible. But if you get your butt kicked and you learn something, at least now it's a lesson. At least now it's that. So I got my lesson. I learned my lesson and realized the only way we're going to do something is to fight to gain allies, is to fight to gain more people who have been affected by this terrible system, gather them all together, and then get in the ballot. It's the only way. You might say, well, Larry, you don't need to get in the ballot. You could just support local stuff. We've been doing that for 50 years. How's that been working? It hasn't. And for those of you who watched my campaign in 2018 versus 2022, much better campaign in 2018. Not even close. My 2022 campaign was a disaster compared to 2018. An utter disaster. What was the biggest issue? Getting on the ballot. Hands down. The biggest issue. In 2018, when it was tough but possible, I was able to get, the Libertarian Party was able to help me tremendously in getting on the ballot. I spent the vast majority of my time campaigning, the vast majority of my money campaigning, the vast majority. I mean, 90%, 95%. 2018, much better campaign, much better everything. 2022, the vast majority of all my money and time went to trying to get in the ballot and lawsuits. Of course, my campaign was garbage. Of course it was. How could it not be? So I learned my lesson. I can't do both. And I can't win in the courts. Got it. Again, a butt whipping. Teach you a lesson. I was prepping my armory and I wind up winning. I'm now prepping this state and we're going to win. This is the same thing. I'm going to get my 3rd Navy Achievement Medal. I won 2 in the Marine Corps. That was one of them. I'll get a 3rd one now. Now I'm going to get a 3rd one. I'm going to have someone give it to me. I don't know who. I'll have one of my Marine friends just give me a fantasy Navy Achievement Medal because we're going to do it again. Next year, as I've been saying for a year now, well, I'm exaggerating, maybe not a year, 8 months maybe or so, we are going to push to get an independent party on this ballot in New York. I've been saying it for 8 months. And people say, nah, we're going to wait for this. Now we'll see that. Nope. You are all full of it. There is one answer on the ballot. Why? For those of you who are on the right, I know you're unhappy. You're saying to yourself, Larry, why bother? Democrats run this state. You're correct. Accurate statement. It's almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican. Almost 3-1. Republicans aren't going to win a statewide election in this state in at least the next 30 years, if not longer, a generation or more. The state's done with Republicans for at least one generation, maybe more, but at least one for sure. The state will go gold or green or purple or whatever color before it will go red. Republicans, you have not won a statewide election in 22 years. Those days are over. Locally, Republicans win all the time. If you like your local Republican, please vote for your local Republican. They win. That happens all the time. Not statewide. Those days are over. Democrats, if you're lean left in this state, you're also unhappy because Democrats don't pay attention to you. Why should they? The establishment runs the state. They don't care what you think. They're too busy making money. They're too busy being corrupt. They're too busy grifting. So if you're a Democrat, you're unhappy too, unless you're an establishment Democrat, in which case you're doing just fine. And you're probably not watching the show or listening to the show. You're probably not. But assuming you're not an establishment Democrat, you're unhappy too. So what can we do? Support the independent party getting on the ballot, which you've heard me say 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it. You get a real third party on the ballot. We don't even have to win. I mean, we will, but we don't have to. Even if we don't, you get better Republicans and better Democrats because they have to respond. They have to act. They have to try because now there's someone else in the game. We can raise money. We can get volunteers. We can get out there. This story that is coming out, oh my God, Supreme Court said no. Oh my God, there's no independent parties in New York State. Who cares? I knew that already. I told you all this months ago. People were saying, Larry, why aren't you behind this lawsuit? Because it's going to fail. I've been in court. I physically was pro se. I was playing lawyer. I watched it. I saw it fail. I watched hundreds of thousands of dollars get thrown in the toilet. I watched so many hearts be broken, including mine. I watched it. I was part of it. I had no doubt this was going to fail. None. I'm absolutely not surprised at all. Which is why I've been working to do this. Which is why I do this show. Which is why I keep talking. Which is why I keep crossing the state. I'm prepping my armory. We're going to win again. Look, for some of you who teased me and got mad at me for last year, get it. There's no doubt that I hit the canvas last year. No doubt. I've said it. I expect it. I've told you this. I accept what happened. And be very clear. I hit the canvas last year, but I got back up before they counted 10. And I'm back in this fight. I got back up. He counted like 9, but I was up. I got back up. I was wobbling, but I got back to my corner. We're ready to go. And I'm coming back out for another round. I need your help. I know you're watching this. I know you're paying attention. Tell your friends. Tell your family. If we want to save this state, the only answer is a real independent party on the ballot. That will make people afraid. That will actually motivate Republicans to start voting again. Republicans in this state don't even vote anymore. Why would they? I get it. Republicans will start voting. Democrats will start caring. Independents will start showing up. We can make some fixes. This Supreme Court judgment, or whatever you call it, yesterday, statement, irrelevant. We are already on the move. You can join me. Tell people about this show. Listen to this show. Share this show. You can do so, please. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. 585-346-3000 is the number if you want to call in and talk to me. I'll be back with your calls and the internet chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust.
Thank you for not throwing me under the bus.
Experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe here, Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. 585-346-3000 is the number. And before the break, I was talking about New York State and how important it is for us to work to fix this state. But sadly, it isn't just New York State. This is also national news. For those of you who are paying attention, now some of you are and some of you aren't, but if you are paying attention, RFK Jr. is supposed to be making an announcement this weekend. We don't know what that announcement is going to be. Supposedly, the rumor is he's going to announce he's going to run as an independent. Now, again, that's a rumor. I don't know if that's true. For the sake of argument, what if it is true? How is RFK Jr. going to get in the ballot? Now, you might say to yourself, Larry, I don't like RFK Jr. I don't want to vote for him. I want to vote for my guy or my gal. Okay, no worries. Is there any doubt that there are literally millions of Americans who would like to vote for RFK Jr., whether that includes you or not? Aren't there millions of Americans who want to vote for him? Wouldn't you agree with that? I hope you would. It's obvious. He gets tons of followers, he's raising money. There are people who want to vote for him, but they won't be able to because of a party system, because of a corrupt court system that is part of that party system that's going to stop him. So you might say, well, Larry, who cares about you? You're some dude in New York. True. But I poll at 6% across the state when it comes to running for governor. 6% for a third party is magical. Obviously not good for a Democrat or Republican, clearly. But that's not who I am. For me, 6%, that's awesome. But 6% of over 6 million New Yorkers who vote is almost 400,000 New Yorkers. There's 400,000 New Yorkers who would at least consider voting for me, if not actually vote for me. But I can't get in the ballot. RFK Jr., far more popular than me. I wish I had his popularity. Far more. There are millions of Americans who want to vote for him. But he will struggle to get in the ballot. And he has far more money than I have, too. He has tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. So he has even more money. And he will struggle. And what are we talking about? Everything but that. The most fundamental issue of being able to vote for the person that you want to vote for, we don't talk about. Well, hopefully, if he makes this announcement this weekend, I hope he does. If he does, maybe we'll talk about it. More people are talking about ballot access than ever. And here's the worst part. More people are talking about it. No labels, Forward Party, Libertarian Party, Green Party, independent candidates. They're all talking about it. And the Supreme Court still said no. Think about that for a second. More popular than ever. Everyone who is in politics is talking about access to the ballot, and the Supreme Court said, nah, we're not going to take this. How embarrassing is that for our court system? Shouldn't the Supreme Court at least take it and go, let me answer this question. Let me put this to bed one way or the other. Let me just say, look, two-point system. Everyone else, go take a hike. If you're not Democrat, Republican, you don't matter. That's America now. Good night. Option one. I would hate that, but that would solidify the situation. Or, no, this is completely unconstitutional. Parties aren't in the Constitution. And in fact, printing a ballot was not a thing. In fact, printing a ballot is not even part of any state constitution. Yeah. You used to be able to just go in, write in the name of the person that you want to vote for, and done. That's how it works. Now, you only get the people they decide. And that's okay. And that's totally fine. It is embarrassingly bad that we don't and we aren't talking about ballot access. You should be able to vote for who you want to vote for. And now popular people like RFK Jr. have to deal with that issue. Now, Cornel West, who's running in the Green Party, will also deal with it, but not as bad, because Cornel West has a party at least. He has some infrastructure, right, that will help him. But you know what? The odds are that Cornel West will not be on all 50 states. Think about that. He won't be on New York State. Impossible. Green Party can't get it. Impossible. They don't have the infrastructure here to do it. They won't do it. So now, Cornel West, again, someone, regardless of your personal view on Cornel West, clearly there are millions of Americans who want to vote for Cornel West, and they won't be able to. So I would ask you, someone who's against what I'm saying, someone's like, no, Larry, the system, blah, 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 whatever. If you're one of those people, let me ask you, what is the harm on letting someone like me on last year, Cornel West, RFK Jr., whomever, on next year? What is the harm? How is the individual American citizen harmed? They're not. If you don't like RFK or if you don't like Cornel West, then don't vote for them. Done. I have evidence of this. In 2018, I was on the ballot and millions of New Yorkers chose to not vote for me. I have evidence of this. I was directly affected by this. Millions of New Yorkers said, no, thank you, Larry Sharpe. We're going with somebody else. And they did. And they were not harmed at all. They got who they wanted. Let me ask you the opposite question. If he's not on the ballot, who is harmed? Every single American who wants to vote for RFK or Cornel West. They are all harmed. There is direct harm by holding people off the ballot and no harm by putting people on the ballot. I would argue there is actually value in putting people on the ballot. But you could argue against that. You could. I get it. But there's no doubt, no harm to the voters. Now, is there harm to the parties? Absolutely. 100%. You put other people on a ballot, They can't do their left guy evil, right guy evil story and not fix anything. They have to actually, have policies and stuff. They have to actually help people and stuff. They have to listen to their constituents, things like that. Why would Biden want to do that? Why would he want to actually help black people when he can just tell them, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? That's a whole lot easier. I mean, way easier than actually helping a black community. Why would he do that? I get it. Why Republicans have to fix anything or try anything, they can just go, socialism bad, and that's it. Oh my God, way easier. That's the problem. This has to be repaired. Not just at New York, which I spoke in the first segment about, but also for the nation. Now is the time. And the Supreme Court doing what they did yesterday, which again, I told you they would do, and they did, proves what I've been saying. Most judges suck. They just do. Why? I was at an event last week. Some of you saw, I posted it online. And Alvin Bragg event. Some of you are mad. You were with Alvin Bragg? I was. It's true. It's fine. I get invited to all types of things. I'm actually going to another special event this week for another candidate. I get invited all the time. There are some advantages to being a popular libertarian in New York State. There aren't many of us. So there is some advantage to being big fish, small pond. But yes, I was. And he was proud of the prosecutor to judge pipeline. Proud of it. Prosecutors are literally agents of the state. That's what they are. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying a fact. They are agents of the state. They enforce the state's laws and rules. That's what prosecutors do. That's their job. I get it. And now they're all becoming judges who now do exactly the same thing. And they're all in the political world. So they're worried about Democrats, Republicans. They're getting elected. They don't want to change this system. It's helping them tremendously. They are literally hurting themselves by helping us. Yeah. We have to fight back harder. Popularity is all that matters. More of us doing this is all that matters. More of us supporting independent parties is all that matters. We must make this happen. I know I'm preachy today. I'm not always preachy, but today's a preachy day. Because what happened yesterday, I hope opened the eyes of many people across the state and across this country. This is the answer. Am I wrong? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. I'll be back with your chat. Your chat is going nuts. I will bring it up, and your calls after the break.
For truth and freedom.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Mainly clear skies. We'll dip back into the low 60s, so stay pretty mild out there. The stage is set for a very warm, could be near record-setting warmth Wednesday in the mid and upper 80s with sunshine. Another very warm day Thursday with sunshine in the mid 80s. Friday, a cold front will arrive with showers and falling temps in the afternoon. Breezy, much cooler weather, 40s and 50s for the weekend. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Summertime fun's better than ever in your new ride from Victor Chevrolet, the new leader for Chevy in Rochester, Canandaigua, and Fairport. Check out these great lease specials. Go anywhere on road or off in your new 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT Crew Cab. Just $389 a month for 36 months. Lease loyalty requires current 2018 or newer Chevy Blazer, Equinox, or Colorado lease through GM Financial. Or how about the 2023 Chevy Equinox LT all-wheel drive? Only $199 a month for 27 months. Must have current lease and household. Mileage allowance on all deals, 10,000 miles per year. $4,900 cash or trade equity plus first payment and DMV fees required at closing. Get more details at dealer. And remember, Victor Chevrolet also has an unbeatable pre-owned selection. Check VictorChevrolet.com for new and used inventory, service specials, and deals on tires, plus EV specials. Whatever brand of vehicle you're driving, you can trust it to our Chevy Certified Service Department. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
A healthy smile has health benefits beyond just teeth. It's whole body wellness. Don't live with broken, missing, or failing teeth. Lakeview Dental can restore your smile with state-of-the-art dental care. Their approach is long-term, reliable, and comfortable. Eliminate those endless visits to deal with recurring problems with your teeth. Address your dental concerns once and for all. Find out more at livoniasmiles.com or call 346-3028. Lakeview Dental, for the smile of a healthier you.
New from Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters, just right for smaller spaces. Meet the Comfort Buddy, a smaller heater for the guest room, laundry room, or sun porch. And the Comfort Buddy offers the famous Aaron Moore advantages like no exposed hot surfaces, child and pet safety, plus big energy savings from turning down your furnace. Upgrade your Comfort Buddy with an optional air purifier you can use all year. Buy direct and get the lowest web price. Use the promo code WYSL and save even more. Call 800-707-8725 or visit airthenmore.com.
Imagine a world where every child has the opportunity to reach their fullest potential. A world where their dreams are not limited by their health. At UR Medicine Golisano Children's Hospital, we are dedicated to making that world a reality. Your donation will help us.
Okay, we have Roger from Nassau.
Care to children in our region.
You're welcome.
Let's work together to transform dreams into reality. Support Golisano Children's Hospital today.
Batavia Downs Gaming exists for you to have fun coming to visit us. By doing that, you help support our member counties, education, local charities, and each and every one of our 400 employees. We want to say thank you. 2022 was our biggest year ever in credits played, money provided to our member counties, money for education and charities in our area. And we want you to continue to love coming here. Batavia Downs Gaming, we thank you for a great 2022, and our best times are ahead of us.
Batavia Downs with more, lots more.
Are you cold in your home? Pick up the phone and call Wise Home Energy at 270-5836. Don't be cold in your home. Pick up the phone, call 270-5836. Wise Home Energy has helped thousands of people get millions in grants and rebates to make their homes much warmer. So don't be cold in your home. Pick up the phone, call Wise Home Energy at 270-5836 today.
Wise Home Energy is a participating contractor in the Home Performance with Energy Star program.
Hey, if you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more details.
Sharpe Wave Radio on the WYSL stations.
Yes, it is Larry Sharpe here again at WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. I have been talking about New York State, the nation, third parties, ballot access. So hard to get this done. And the chat's been exploding. And I want to grab some of the chat. But first, let me grab a call if I could. This is Roger from Nassau. How are you, Roger?
Larry.
How are you?
You know you speaking my language now, right?
Go ahead.
As the party abolitionist. You know me as the party abolitionist.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
You know, and what me and Lucy were trying to do was trying to get more people registered as independent to make parties irrelevant in this state. But, it was kind of hard. We was trying to do it this summer, but we just couldn't really get off the ground, probably money and all that different type of stuff, whatever.
But there's something else
like
to that,
said,
Roger. It isn't just that. A lot of people who are political animals, they take their party registration very seriously, and they take it almost as a part of themselves. Like, I'm a member of the Democratic Party, a member of the Republican Party. it matters. So I think there's also that on top of it. There's a cultural aspect. And the other thing is in New York State, in many places, I mean, across the country, but we're talking New York State, in many cases, the actual election doesn't matter. The election is decided at the primary level because the districts are so gerrymandered. So people don't want to vote. They don't want to be independent because they can't vote in the primaries and they feel they have no power.
Well, here's the thing. If you feel the parties are not working for you, then you might as well register independent, because the thing is, it doesn't really matter anyway. I mean, the easiest people to get registered independent, at least like on the left, or what you might consider on the left, are Black people under 50. Because if you try to do that with Black people over than 50, especially when you get into that boomer territory, especially Black women, they ain't trying to hear none of it.
No, Black women are Democrats. They don't want to hear nothing. You are 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like those who are like my generation X and younger than 50, we looking at them like, yeah, we still on the bottom, and you can't blame Republicans for that, okay?
Correct.
Democrats don't do jack for us. But if you talk, if you talk to the hardest people besides Black women to try to get to register independent are white young liberals or white progressives or white leftists or whatever, because they so scared of Republicans. I'm like, man, please, I ain't scared of no Republicans. If whoever wins, wins. You know what I agree. But if you independent, then you have leverage in both parties, and shoot, you could probably run your own independent candidate at some point. We are 3.5. Let me tell you something. I understood at first, like this might be like, at first I thought what Cuomo did was terrible, because it was like what he did to third parties was terrible. But that's when I was a party person. But then when I took a look at it, he brought all former third parties together under the independent banner. Okay.
That is true. So that's what I'm saying.
Former Greens should be partnering with former Libertarians.
Well, let me touch this, Roger. You have hit a very important thing here, right? I don't like what Cuomo did because I wanted it to be easier. I want it to be so easy to create political parties that they become irrelevant. So that literally 18 million New Yorkers, 10 million registered voters could become 10 million political parties if they wanted to. Now, they won't, because some people want to gather together for certain reasons, so no worries. But you could even put together short-term political parties. You could put a 2-year political party, say, to get rid of something, to create something, and then break that party up, make a new party to create something else, to do something else. I wish that were the case, but we're not there. But to your point, what has happened is now we're all together. And some of you may not know this. It wasn't just the Libertarian Party that was on the lawsuit that went to the Supreme Court or didn't go to the Supreme Court. The Green Party was with us. This was the Libertarian Party and Green Party. And ideologically, we are very often the opposite. Very often. Not always. We do agree on certain things. But many things we're opposite. But on this, to your point, Roger, we were together. You're right.
Yeah, so he's brought us all together. And here's the thing. If you, like I said, I think that if we register 3.5 million in the no party, that's what it's called in New York State. It's not called independent. It's called no party. And 2.4 million Republican, but 6.5 million Democrats. If we were to get within a 5% range of Democrats, then the Democrats would start panicking. And then
100%.
you use that as leverage. You use that as leverage to say, hey, force them to put a legislative initiative before us that would give us the option to place our own amendments on the ballot as initiatives so we can ratify our own amendments.
Another call on hold.
I agree completely. Roger, we're speaking the same language. We're on the same page, brother. Thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. So yeah, Roger gets it. It's what I'm saying. It's what I've been saying. People get so upset at me sometimes.
Bryce, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Why in the world would you talk to other parties? Why would you be talking to people? Because I must. It's the right answer. Let me grab one more call if I could. Bryce calling from Michigan. How are you, Bryce?
Larry, how's it going? The Michigan populist here. We've discussed a few times on Twitter. How are you?
How are you? What's going on?
I'm doing well. You know, I'm so glad that you're having this conversation because I feel that being an independent is going to be the future of America. I think the political parties have let us down. And if we were
100%.
really smart, we would have listened to George Washington on his farewell address when he warned against political parties and what it would do to this country. So I really feel that there's a revolution coming, and that revolution is going to be independent.
The question, though, is, right, with the system, do independents get behind a party, an individual, an idea? Is this long-term or short-term? And what I would prefer in my perfect world, right, if I could have my perfect world, that, as I said earlier, I would like us to create temporary political parties to do certain things. I feel like that's the strongest one, right? So me and you agree on X. Let's all get together to make X happen. Okay, it happened.
Well, I think if we,
okay, next.
You know, Larry, I think if you look at 1992, right, Ross Perot ran for president in 1992 and won 19% of the popular vote. Now, had he not dropped out, he probably would have gotten some electoral votes. But then he decided to run in 1996 as a reform and build a reform party. And he lost half of his voters, did not get access to the debates because, truthfully, Democrats and Republicans, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, are afraid of political parties. They're not
100%.
afraid of independents, right? One person isn't going to harm them, but a whole party, it's going to harm them. So the person that's going to break through that barrier and allow third parties to come into fruition, to follow their coattails, it has to be an independent.
Yeah.
So on October 9th, Larry, what I really would love to see is the Reform Party, the People's Party, the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, back Robert F. Kennedy's independent run, because if he can break that barrier, if he can get electoral votes, we can all ride those coattails come 2028, because people will wake up and realize we need a third way.
I got to tell you, what you're saying about the electoral votes, true. 100%. I've been talking about this, believe it or not, for years. Since 2016, I've been saying for libertarians, this is specifically for libertarians in this case, I've been saying you have to fight to get an electoral vote. Back then, I thought it would be New Mexico because that's when Gary Johnson was running and he was the former governor of New Mexico. So back then, I thought New Mexico was our chance at getting some electoral votes. I'm not sure that's true today, but that's what I thought back then. Now I'm thinking maybe it's Nebraska, maybe it's Maine, who knows where, maybe it's Utah. I don't know. But I think, yes, electoral votes are everything. I've been talking about this for years. I agree. The problem with all the parties backing RFK is that if they all back RFK, which one gets him on the ballot? This goes back to the system. Bryce, our system's broken. What you want to happen, I would love. The system won't allow it. He has to go on one of them for the purposes of being on a ballot. And that's what sucks. If we can go back to what Roger was talking about, have no parties, it wouldn't matter. He just goes on the ballot. Doesn't matter the party. But our system, I think, kind of stops that. Am I making sense?
Well, you know, and I agree with that, Larry, but I think if you look, and you look at New York too, states make it easier for an independent to run than they do for a third party. That's why we have Angus Young as an independent senator. That's why we have Bernie Sanders as an independent senator. It's why we have Kristen Sinema as an independent senator. Now, granted, Kristen Sinema didn't run as an independent. She had
Correct. She didn't run as one. Right.
But Bernie and Angus did. They refused to run under a party, and they won. So independents can win.
However, they don't make any impact. That's the problem. Did I lose you?
Yeah. No, I'm here.
They don't make any impact. So it's great, but Bernie Sanders wound up just backing Biden anyway. He made no impact, did nothing, right? And these guys aren't making any actual impact. That's the issue. You want to make impact, you have to win an executive level. You've got to be a mayor. You've got to be a governor. You've got to be a president. Executives make impact.
Jesse the Body Ventura in 1998. Then we had
100%.
in our own. I'm a New Yorker myself too. I'm a former New York. I'm living in Michigan now. But come on, we had Mayor Bloomberg, an independent. He won 2 times.
Agreed. But he also had $5 billion. You give me $5 billion, I will also be governor of New York. So I'm just saying.
Maybe,
So
maybe it takes
I'm
somebody
agreeing
that
with you,
can
Bryce, but I'm up on a break. Thank you for the call, my friend. I think it's a wonderful call. I think this is a great topic. I'm glad we're all talking about it. Guys, if you like what I'm talking about, then you can always just call in like Bryce and like Roger did, 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York, Sharpe Radio. Back, and I promise I will take your chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence.
Larry, just a question. If a third-party candidate did take some electoral votes, what ends up happening? Because don't you have to have the majority of all of them? What would happen if it got split three ways?
Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Right, but what I'm wondering, if someone doesn't get...
Colors are red for valor, white for innocence, and blue for justice. Our nation's flag proclaims liberty for all, and our military continue to fight for the right to live in freedom. Honor their service and sacrifice.
Okay, has that ever happened in the history of the U.S.?
Visit eflagstore.com to shop now.
Okay, okay, very interesting. We have Keith now, but I'll let you get the chat in first if you want.
In 1926, the Avon
Perfect,
Fire
thanks.
Department put an Aaron's Fox pumper into service. It now sits fully restored in a museum near Toronto. Avon has an opportunity to bring the Fox home for its 100th birthday for a fraction of its appraised value. The Aaron's Fox Full Circle Preservation Society needs your help. Look us up on Facebook or call 615-6463. Let's bring home the Fox.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe here on WYSL, Rochester, New York, Sharpe Radio. Glad that you would give me a chunk of your afternoon. During the break, someone asked about what happens if there are electoral votes and the independent party gets one or two or whatever the amount may be. For those of you who don't know, anyone who gets 270 is the president. So say it's Trump, Biden, independent. Trump gets 270, Biden gets 260 something, independent gets whatever, 9. I'm making this up. That's wonderful for the independent that you will now see that color on the map. And that's what Bryce is talking about. Seeing that color on the map makes them valid. They will be said, oh, they threw the election to Trump. That will be what's said, which is awesome. Not because I can't have Trump's president. I don't. But that will mean that now all of a sudden, third parties are valid and important. And this is Bryce's point, and he's right. All third parties benefit from that. But Trump was to be president. But what if we don't get 270? Like Biden doesn't get 270, Trump doesn't get 270. If that happens, say he gets 260, he gets 260, and the independent party gets 8 or 9 or whatever's left over, it goes to the Congress. Each state gets 1 vote. Whoever gets 26 votes, over 50%, right? Because 50 states, becomes president. And they decide, each state decides, each state gets 1 vote. That's how it works in the Constitution. So just let you guys know that. Let me grab a couple people from the chat. There are so many of them. Oh my God, I have Andrew Nero watching. Andrew Nero, by the way, he says, hey, great topic. Andrew also is an independent candidate for president. I interviewed him on my Sharpe show. If you want to check it out, please check out a Sharpe Andrew Nero. You can see his amazing interview. Also fighting to get on the ballot, right? Also fighting to get on the ballot. So thank you for watching. I'm glad you are watching. Paula says, the New York GOP is just dead. It's over without independence for smaller government. Independence are the only hope for deregulation, economic growth. Yes, sadly for you Republicans in New York State, again, locally, Republicans win. Statewide, it is a colossal waste of time. Frank agrees. Frank says, yes, sir. In our neck of the woods, the Republican Party dominates all the local and county elections. Agreed. Yes, locally, Republicans win. Therefore, if you want to say any say in the Republican election, in a local election, you have to register as Republican. Local Democrats don't bother to put up candidates anymore. Republican primaries are the election. There's the other problem, right? I agree. Where I live, Frank, in New York City, Democrats, right? Locally for the assembly, Democrats have not run a candidate in 10 years. You're exactly correct. I have the opposite problem here. Absolutely. Austin asks, Larry, as much as I do believe in a libertarian will win an election, I'm personally predicting that ever since 2020, we are hopefully guaranteed 5% or more of the popular vote in 2024 election. 5% is a key because 5% means you then get federal funds. And once you get federal funds, there goes the money that Bryce and I were talking about for us to actually have impact. I think we can do 5% this year. I think it's possible. For sure, independents will. I hope libertarians will be part of that, that piece. That is what I hope. So I grabbed a bunch of a chat. I will get some more in a minute, but let me grab a call if I could. This is Keith from Rochester. Keith, how are you, sir? Thank you for being patient.
Fast comment and question. I don't have any problem with an independent party as such. I don't know if it'll make the various party heads more responsive to the public, etc. And I have said flat out that conservatives were even very wrong for keeping you off the ballot. So my question here on YSL, you're on the Liberty station. The show after you is Mr. Dan Bongino. He is saying, I believe correctly, that things must get much worse in our country before the majority of Americans who probably are not paying attention really do start to perk up. So my question, will that be the impetus? Will it have to be really bad before people across the board come together in your independent party? That term of impetus, I don't think it's there yet. And I think Mr. Bongino and the rest of us who think that way, there's going to have to be much further a meltdown before you really get different people across the board to gel together.
I think he's half right. What do I mean by that? People don't change because things are bad, right? In fact, when things are bad and they try using the system and it doesn't work, they go into a thing called, it is literally a name for it, it's called learned helplessness. They just surrender. They just either they check out or just vote like a robot, or they just don't care. They begin to realize there's nothing that matters, no matter how bad it gets. And the example I often give is the Russian Empire for 300 years under the Romanovs. The serfs were horrible, and there was hardly any rebellion. I mean, there were a couple of rebellions here or there, but nothing of any real stature, until all of a sudden things are bad and one more thing happens. Hope. Things must be bad, and then there must be hope. And this is my point, Keith. I want to make a third party, another way. I want to make something the hope of people, where they go, wait a minute, things have sucked for a long time. Things are really bad, but this thing might work. Okay, let's move. And sadly for the Russians, they bought that for communism. The guy was like, yeah, Lenin was like, yeah, see, communism. We'll get to kill the rich and we'll all be equal. And they went, wow, that sounds amazing. What about food? He said, well, I'm not going to promise the food part, but man, will we be able to kill the rich? That'll be awesome. And they thought that it was going to be way better. And it wasn't way better. But they did believe it because they were in trouble and they saw hope. So that's what we're looking for, Keith, is hope.
Well, in closing, I agree with you, but what's killing America is corruption and the abject materialism. We have to have capitalism, but oh man, is materialism killing the spirit of the American people.
Yes, it's true. Keith, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye. So Roger tells me that I'm incorrect. He says with 3 parties, the threshold of electoral college votes need to goes down to 180. I don't believe that's true, Roger. I think the Constitution is clear on how this works. Parties are not in the Constitution. So for this to be true, officially on the ballot in 2016, there were 4 parties. Now, the Green Party wasn't on all 50 ballots in 2016, but the Libertarian Party was. So if that's true, there was a 3-way race in 2016, in which case the amount of electoral college votes would have gone down. It did not. So I don't think that's accurate. Again, the Constitution does not have parties. I think it's 270 no matter what, whether there's 8 parties, 20 parties. And again, if you only go 50 states, there were 3 parties with it. Libertarians were 50-state ballot access 2020 and 2016. If you count parties with at least 20, Constitution Party had 20 or more. Green Party had almost 40. A bunch of parties had like 20 or 30. So it would have been like 5 or 6 parties. So I don't think that's accurate. So I hope that was clear at least. Legacy says, prosecutorial misconduct is a very real issue that protects these criminals so they can become corrupt judges. I wish you were wrong, but you are not, my friend. You are correct. Prosecutors get away with all types of things, and those prosecutors become judges, and judges get away with a whole lot of things, and there was virtually no way for us to do anything to stop them. I think you have a very valid issue. I get it. Methodical Madness says, judges suck because they're owned by bankers. Well, I would say they're owned by the elites, which includes bankers. Yes. So I would go further. Not only bankers. Yes, but not only. So I do think it's even more. So yes, I think it's, yeah. He then goes on to say, just don't be surprised if RFK strikes a deal for concessions. Yeah, this is the part that I hope is not true. I hope you're wrong on this. I don't want RFK, whatever he does, I don't want him to just drop out and back Biden. That would break everything and ruin it all. Guys, I hope today's preaching was good. Some of you are happy about it. I appreciate it. I think the topic is amazing. Sorry for the initial problem up front. I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.